Hello, I'm John, the Warhammer Modeler, and welcome to part 3 of my conversion series of Karloth Valois. This video is going to be slightly different. We're going to look at the backstory of Karloth, and the place we're going to look is Outlanders, the expansion to Necromunda back in the 90s. So let's begin. Karloth Valois is one of the many who fled into the Underhive to conceal some dark and terrible secret. In Karloth's case, it was that he was a weird, a human with latent psychic talents. Flashes of precognition gave him constant nightmares, and thoughts and feelings of others pounded against his consciousness like surf against the shore. Unable to endure the cacophony of Hive City, he fled into the dark fastness of the Hive bottom and headed into the wastes, as far from others as he could get. Alone amidst the crawling horrors of the bad zones, he soon weakened and almost died many times. At the last, as Karloth foraged for a few miserable morsels of food, he was pursued by relentless plague zombies, a pack of shambolic cadavers hungry for his flesh. Karloth ran until his feeble body could carry him no further, and the foul creatures set upon him, worrying at his flesh like dogs. Karloth could sense the dim, sluggish minds of his devourers, their thoughts made jagged by instinct, but still simpler than a child's. Fired by the strength of desperation, Karloth drove the monsters back with an effort of will, quelling their murderous instincts so that they stood passively by. He lay there, crippled and helpless, with the zombies all around him as the dreaded zombie plague they carried ate into his brain. Hours passed, but somehow Karloth clung to the slender thread of his life force by draining what little will remained to the zombies, so he could maintain his own existence. In time, the plague abated, and Karloth found that he was still alive, after a fashion. Somehow Karloth's powers were strangely affected by the neuron plague. He was able to bend the plague zombies to his will within a limited distance, firing their hunger or sharpening their wariness as he desired. He could drain the life energy of others and absorb it into himself, and he knew that this was the only useful means of sustenance. Most of all, Karloth had sensed the fate death would bring. Endless ennure, horrible torments, and incessant terror. He vowed that death would never take him. Karloth took to a wandering existence in the wastes, preying on the living where he could, and using the plague zombies to protect him from his enemies, or to get what he wanted. His reputation grew, and he became feared throughout the Underhive as a soul thief and life-taker. Gangs made unholy pacts with him to gain his help, and his zombie hordes became a real threat. It was whispered that the gods of darkness favoured Valois, and people became afraid of his very name. But the Brethren of the Redemption flocked to the Underhive to test their faith against such an archdevil in human form, and their flamers drove him deeper into the pit. The hunt for Karloth Valois forms an epic in its own right. Everywhere he turned, he was betrayed or driven away. Such was the fears others felt of him or the Redemption, or both. For a time he escaped into the poison pools and refuse of the scavies, but the fanatics of the Redemption found him even there. The red-robed priests pursued Karloth to the very edge of the abyss before he turned at bay, fought for his life. The zombies and Brethren fought a great battle over the spider-haunted depths, the flames lighting the darkness as they cut through rank upon rank of the rotting dead. Karloth feasted on their lives and left them as shriveled husks, but the priests came on with the zeal of madmen, and no zombie could stop them. To evade them and avoid a heretic's fate, Karloth cast himself over the brink into the mile-deep abyss below, shrieking his defiance of death. Though the Redemption searched for weeks, No trace was ever found of Karloth Valois' body. Underhivers knew they were mad to try, for nothing can ever be found in the abyss unless it wants to be. So, that's the story of Karloth Valois from the Outlanders book. In the next video, I'll be starting the conversion of Karloth using parts that I'm bringing together for this project. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm John, the Warhammer Modeler. Stay safe.